When that thing dropped in my spirit, it was at night, and there was just a crayon that was just on my bedside and just a notebook. When I saw him, I had never met such a handsome man. Oh my goodness, I was asking, God has such wonderful and cute men in church. You would want to get married to a man like that looks like your dad.
Yeah, so it's usually not a bad thing. You know,
it's
people say,
you
know, when you're looking for your dad and other people, you know, blah, 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 a lot of shenanigans there.
When I was now 21, one time he told me about how he has been, he's interested to marry me and he loves me. And I was very careful because he was my first boyfriend, or not even boyfriend. He's the first man that I've ever been close to.
Yeah.
So when he told me that, I was very scared.
Yeah.
Because if there is something I've always been afraid of as a lady, I was only telling God, allow me never to get married to the wrong man. After engaged na tumeanza a relationship that we will be planning a wedding soon. A door opened for him to go to abroad. He goes to US. He went to US. Ameniacha kwa mataa. Let me tell you something, God.
We are not here to joke.
Yes, you talk very, uliongea haraka sana.
To Edified Woman, the only show where you get edified through stories, through interviews, through conversations. Actually, it's through conversations. Thank you so much for sticking around. This is episode 3. My name is Racheal Kahugu. Very excited to be here. Thank you to everyone who's subscribed and shared. I know that you've been blessed by the last 2 episodes that you've had. Thank you so much for staying. Today we're shooting from Cypress Park, Nakuru. And this is a place where you can come, take coffee, relax, bring your kids so that they can enjoy. I know that you can see it's a serene environment in the outskirts of town, kidogo. Iko karibu na town, but pia iko mbali kidogo na town. So that tells you this is a good place for you to have your corporate meetings. This is a good place for you to, just come hang out with your family. This is the place to be. So thank you so much to Cypress Park for allowing us to have this amazing conversation from this location. Thank you so much for being here. Of course, our conversation is coming to you right here on Edified Woman podcast. So we'll just give you a second and make sure that you subscribe before you get started. Thank you. Now, as we always do as we start, is that we have our amazing mugs and other mugs that you'll be seeing, and they're here. If you need one of these, please make sure to reach out through our numbers that are on your screen. That is 011 2900 940. Now, today we're having an amazing conversation with a woman of God, a friend. Now I've become her little sister. I love to hear every time she's speaking. Just listen to her because she is powerful. She's a mom, she's a reverend, she's a founder of an amazing, is it an organization?
Yep.
Yeah, it's an organization. Lily, I've come to learn that it has a school as well. You have so many hearts, and I love to have this conversation with you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Rachel. It's always good to have a chat with you and a conversation with you.
Asante.
Yes,
thank you for coming.
A vibe.
Asante.
Yes.
Tunatakana sasa after these, now we plan for an actual hangout. Sindio? Very soon.
Yes. That would be nice.
Thank you so much for being here, Rev Patricia. Thank you for accepting our invite, and you're ready to get edified from this conversation.
Thank you. Oh my goodness, this is an amazing program.
Asante.
Yes.
Please say hi to our viewers. That's your camera.
Wow, thank you. Hi viewers, my name is Rev Patricia Benson. I'm a reverend of Chosen Generation Church and also the founder of Better You Foundation and a co-founder of Better You School and co-director for Moblaka TV.
Yeah.
And we really thank God for having this opportunity to be with Rachel. It's a morning or it's an afternoon this morning. Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
We're shooting this in the morning hours, but of course we'll be getting it at around 8:30 p.m. So, every time we're having conversations, I just nakwanga almost kukatu hivi mahali na notebook nikiandika because it's always very enlightening.
Thank you.
You've mentioned Better You.
Yes.
Why, Better You, I've always told you that it's a very intriguing name. So why Better You Foundation?
Oh my goodness. Thank you for asking. Better You Foundation, by the grace of God, I can call it an organization, but it's a Christian organization. It's a ministry as well.
Yeah.
And Better You Foundation is an organization that reaches out to persons persons living with disability within Nakuru and even outside Nakuru, throughout Kenya. And this is an organization that we are really passionate to reach out to those people with disabilities that have been neglected or they have felt they need to attend to their health status. So we go to them, we conduct medical camps, we screen them for hypertension, diabetes, we screen them for all kinds of cancers, we treat them for free. And also we combine with other things on that day. That day we do our mobile clinics. It's not just an ordinary mobile clinic. It's a mobile clinic that you live there better than you came. That is why we call ourselves Better You Foundation. And all this we are doing. Our target group are families of persons living with disability. And by the grace of God, we have been able to reach to so many people that are living with disability. We screen them, and we do a follow-up for them. We refer them those that have difficult complex diseases, and we do a follow-up. And also after we do our medical camps, we get an opportunity to preach to them. We give them free Bibles, those that give their life to Christ. And also we do grooming for them during our medical camps. We take care of those special children. We do their hair, we cut their hair for the boys. The mothers are taken care of. They are done manicure, pedicure. They are made their hair. So
it's very wholesome.
It's very holistic. Yes. And also we usually have our psychological counselors. There are some people that they can talk to, those parents or those people that are living with disability, that they can help them psychologically. And all that, it goes a long way. And after that, we also share lunch together. And also they go home with a shopping to go with their families.
That's really beautiful. And this is just where we say, because, you know, I've been in one of the camps and it was good. It was amazing, and we'll be sharing the photos and maybe some videos here so that you can see as well. But you know, I've never asked this question. Why are you so passionate about people living with disability?
Oh my
because
God.
That's
I
in
know
your
it's
heart,
it's in my heart, and it's not hard for me to. It's not hard
you do
for
it with
us.
so much love.
Yes. Let me say something, Racheal. And I've come to realize, I think as I'm growing up, I'm coming to understand how God operates in the life of people. Because most people have something they have, but they don't know why they have a certain passion for something. It appears just as a normal thing, but I have come to realize that some of these things that you feel you're very attached to or passionate with, sometimes that's your line of calling. It also goes to with your line of calling. And so, like in my case, I've always had passion for people living with disability since I was a little girl, since I was in the village, since I was growing up. I have always, when I notice someone with a wheelchair or a clutch or just limping or have a, or is not able to see or is not able to hear, there is a way I could really connect, and it really, I'm able to identify them, even if there is 1,000 people and one person with a disability. Those are the persons that I'm really, my eye is not able to ignore them. And I have always been with that thing for a long time. And as I was growing up, it went growing, and later I was able to do my dream career of becoming a nurse.
You're a nurse.
I'm a nurse.
Please, acha tu kwanza ni receive tu because you have so many hats. You're also a nurse. You know, we didn't mention that in the intro. You're also a nurse, a certified.
Yes, a registered nurse in Kenya.
And you worked outside Kenya as well?
Yes.
Tell us about it.
Oh, the one for outside Kenya was brief. Was just a short, whatever, for a short season. But by the grace of God, what I love about Kenya, by the way, if you're a nurse in Kenya, and especially if you have trained in a reputable organization and you have a nursing license, one thing I am so proud being a nurse in Kenya is that you can work anywhere in the world. Nurses in Kenya are very marketable wherever they go, everywhere in the world. And I thank God that I was able to train as a nurse. And with my nursing profession, that's how I was able to start our organization, Better You Foundation. Through that knowledge for medical field, for working the hospitals. I've worked in several hospitals in Kenya by the grace of God. Even as a nurse. Before most people graduate as nurses, they work in different hospitals.
Yep.
And by the grace of God, I was able to work in different hospitals in Kenya. And that is how my passion for even persons with disability grew.
Okay.
I remember there was a time I was working in an orthopedic ward. Orthopedic ward is a ward for anyone that has gotten an injury, an accident, motorbike accident, you know, all kinds of accidents. You find those people in an orthopedic theater. I mean, an orthopedic ward. And most of them live there with a wheelchair or with a clutch or with a walking stick or with a walking frame. And that was my favorite ward among, of course, there are other wards that I worked even in the maternity, but that was one of the most interesting ward that I was really enjoying, because I could sit down with patients and ask them, how did you get this accident? What happened? Some of them are motorbike drivers. Because you find sometimes they're at a very high risk. Maybe they are not putting their, you know,
their helmets.
They are
they're
not,
overspeeding.
you know, they are carrying a big number. So at the end, some of them you find, if they are not careful of their driving skill, you find they can find themselves in an accident. So those were some of the people that were, their cases were really touching me when I imagine somebody that was not born maybe with a disability has ended up now using crutches for many years or for many months, or using a wheelchair at some point. And also I realized disability has a form of limitation it gives someone, and that by itself affects somebody psychologically. And so you find some of them just out of finding themselves they have disability, other diseases can just start, you know, attacking them, like now hypertension. Unakuta mtu ameanza kufikiria sana, at the end of it they develop a condition like hypertension, diabetes, you know, mental diseases, you know, blood sugar starts to increase because they are not able to do exercises like before, obesity, you know, so many cholesterol increases, anemia. All those conditions are conditions that you can test someone in the comfort of where they are and get to see the results. And so that is why we started now going to those people where they are, since they cannot sometimes come to the hospital.
So you go to where they are.
We go to where they are.
And
Better Foundation is an organization for the village. You know, we don't
Uko
mashinani. Like next month we are going to Subukia. Subukia uko mashinani. Not even in the town. Tunaenda uko ndani chini ya miti uko. And that's where we go, and because we want them to cover as minimum distance as possible. The whole of the Subukia people that are really with disability will have a day with them. We shall spend a day with them.
That's
and
amazing.
It shall be an amazing
That's
thing.
amazing.
Yes.
You know, from all this I'm getting that everything that you're doing it as ministry.
We are doing it as ministry.
So when did you ever know that you're called for ministry and not just nursing?
You
would have just decided, no, I'll just be going to church and do nursing because you know you've done it as a cause.
As a cause.
So when did you realize that, oh, this is actually ministry?
Oh my. Mine, I can say that it was not just a strategy. You know, there is somebody who sits down and thinks of what should I do?
Fungue kanisa.
Ama hii organization itakuwa nafanya kitu fulani. All those things you hear we do, among other things that I've not even mentioned at Patricia Foundation, it's something that the Spirit of God was speaking to me about. I had never seen people doing what we normally do at Better. We are not copy pasting maybe something I was working at some point, but it's just some things. I remember one evening I was just sleeping, and then I just took what is it called? A crayon, a piece of crayon. When that thing dropped in my spirit, it was at night, and there was just a crayon that was just on my bedside and just a notebook. I started writing those things about going out to do medical camps, reaching out to those people, you know, sharing the word of God with them, you know, providing mobility devices for them, having psychological counseling for them. You know, making them better by giving them the, you know, the grooming services. As little those services appears, there was something that I can't tell. I was not taught that in school, but it's something that just the Spirit of God dropped. And when I had it, I remember I told my husband. And because my husband knows me for, you know, I got married by my best friend.
Oh,
so
nice.
He knows how I have always been passionate about disability. Because also he has also struggled with disability. He has lived with disability at some point. So he told me, just go ahead, register it, let it become an institution already. So we registered it, and that's how, because we are co-founders, we were able to start it, and from there God took over.
Amazing.
Yes.
You've talked about your husband being your best friend. Tell us about how you got married. This is one of my most favorite stories. I may just come to the other side and watch as well.
Oh my goodness,
tell us
thank
about
you.
how you knew about your husband.
My husband is called Bishop Benson Nganga. I know some people may have heard about him, but in case you haven't, please in a few you'll be able to meet him or to know about him.
Yes.
Bishop Benson Nganga is a man of God, and is a man that has a true calling from God. You know, there are pastors and there are pastors that are just pastors.
Yeah,
So
the pastors wa kujiwekelea na kuna pastors when they are called.
Na wako called, the calling of God is so evident. So I boast, or I'm proud that I got married to a genuine, that's the word, genuine man of God. How I met him, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Are you ready to hear all this?
Yes, acha tanieke hapa. Please, producer, tell us when the time is. Hapa tunaweza kaa mpaka kesho.
Racheal, you're spoiling me. Oh my goodness.
We are ready.
Now, my husband, I met him when I was 19. He was
19.
21. Yes.
19 surely tunatakana kwa kisoma Rev.
Wacha hata kusoma. See, you know what happened? I gave my life to Christ when I was 14.
Okay.
And when I was 16, I joined the church where I met my husband because I was in high school. I was still in high school.
Okay.
So I joined the church I was raised up at, CFF Nairobi.
Okay.
And when I was there, we could go to lunch hour. When I closed school, I could not miss any lunch hour or a kesha, you know, during midterm and over the holiday. So I'm in this church for long. So when I finished Form 4, I was still going to church every day. I've never missed lunch hours. And I normally say, like, allow me to say, because there are people that have accessibility to a church, but they don't go. Anytime you have identified a healthy church that hold services, interdenominational services, as long as it's a healthy church, attend to those services because you never know. So that's what I did. I used to go for lunch hours and evening services. So one time when I finished Form 4, and I've said I've picked my results, I'm now 19, going to 20. Yeah. I went to a kesha. I was working in a certain place, and in the evening, I mean every Friday, once in a month, every Friday we could go to a kesha. So I went to a kesha. And that's where I met my husband.
How? You can't just brush over it like that. Hey, tell us.
You're really looking up.
I'm looking up it.
No, I was in a kesha. Then we were in a basement church, so the church used to be very hot after praises because the church could be hot. There was a church canteen. Yeah. So I thought of going get a soda to take because it's too hot. Yeah. Going to the canteen, guess who is selling in that canteen? My husband. By then he was just a brother in church, Benson. Yeah. So I find him, it was my first time to ever see him. And I started asking myself, I've been in this church now for more than 4 years, and I am a regular church member, but I've never seen this such a cute man. Yeah. Do you know, when I saw him, I had never met such a handsome man. Oh my goodness, I was asking, God has such wonderful and cute men in church. I was like, oh my goodness. You know, as a girl, there's something you see and you're like, wow.
This is it.
Yes. Yeah. You know, my dad was light skinned, and my, you would want to get married to a man like that looks like your dad.
Yeah. So it's usually not a bad thing. You know, people say, no, when you're looking for your dad and other people, you know, blah, 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 a lot of shenanigans there.
Yeah, my dad was such a handsome man. Yeah. And I think, I remember because my mom used to tell me, everywhere we could go, you could say, you know, you'll get children that looks like your father.
And do you have kids that look like your dad? Probably.
Yes. Yeah. So when I saw him, I was like, oh my goodness, this one is so cute. And he's working in the church. Yeah. And I was like, how did he end up selling in a canteen? He must be a very close person with the church because, you know, finding someone working in church has to be somebody that is known by the church. And I went to buy, I had 500 shillings. And I was buying a soda. So he told me, and there is a queue, there was a big queue of people buying soda. So he told me, because I don't have enough change, please come for it in the morning, because the change is not enough. But there's a way we just clicked. Just from that first, you know, it's called first sight. Yeah. So I went back to church. We continued with the kesha. And in the morning, because the canteen was at the door as you are entering or as you are going out, I went to pick my change. So that's when he saw me now better, because now it's in the morning, it's a bit, you know, it's a bit bright.
Hakuna watu wengi.
Hakuna watu wengi.
Yeah.
So akinitafutia change, una imagine sasa out of 500 unatafuta change ya kutoa soda moja.
Yeah.
So akakuwa ameitarisha, akaniambia, hey, thank you for buying soda. Lakini tukaanza kukaa.
Wengine alikuwa anamwambia asante. You know he's probably watching. Ulikuwa unamwambia wengine asante kweli.
So he did tell us that the cue as a cue continue to do that.
He said thank you for buying. Thank you for buying. Thank you for buying here.
I know.
Yeah.
So alikuwa anataka kuleta kajam hapo as we were waiting for the to be served. So the following week, lunch hours, I started still going to lunch hours.
Yeah.
Then, no, on that Kesha that now I've met him, see, I've told me I go back, I come for the church in the morning. When testimony time came, I see him in the front, and I was like, this man looks like the one I've just seen at the door.
Yeah. Then
he holds the microphone. And I'm like, my goodness, that voice sounds very nice. When he held the microphone to give the testimony, I was like, oh my goodness, he doesn't speak like, he doesn't appear as if he can talk such a, you know, I just like how his voice was so bold and confident, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Now, he started giving the testimony. No, the testimony was going like this. He said, now, today I'm giving a testimony because for the last 4 years, I've been working in clutches, and the last 2 weeks, I've been able to put down my crutches after 4 years. And I was like, my goodness, 4 years of working. You know, now with my thing of disability, I'm like, my goodness, 4 years working with 2 clutches. A young man like him. And now he was like, I really want to thank God that I have been able to put down my clutches after a long time. And I've seen the hand of God helping me. Now, when he was giving that testimony, I had come from losing my mother less than a year before, or maybe not long ago, many months ago. So I was in a mood of grief. I had not recovered from grief. I was complaining to God, telling God, you're not fair because you killed my mother when I'm still a teenager, when I'm still not yet finished my high school. So I was a bit bitter with God. I was feeling, God, you're not as good as I was thinking.
Oh, really?
Oh my goodness.
Grief
because
can be
I was
very...
in grief. Because I was remembering how I used to go to Kesha with my mom. And now this was one of my first Keshas without her. And I was feeling God is not good. So then I hear a young man who is just of my age talking how God is good, that he has delivered him from walking in crutches for 4 years. And I was like, so there are things that you can thank God for. And you know, regardless of your age or who you are. And I was like, his testimony was such a connection. I was like, oh God, I'm sorry I've been complaining. There are people that have gone through even worse things than I am, but they still have a reason to thank God. That alone really touched me. But in my mind, I was not still yet connecting whether this is the same guy I saw behind the counter at the canteen or is another one. But still that testimony was so powerful. I even noted it until I could tell other people, there is a man who came to church and he told us he was working in clutches. So the pastor that was leading the service, when he took the microphone after he has finished the testimony, he said, we are so happy to see this man working. I have seen him working for 4 years. And now that was the assistant pastor of our pastor. So I was like, even assistant pastors in this church know him. And I've never,
I've never seen him.
So I knew that he's not a stranger in that church. So from there, we took a Juana. So when I now went to lunch hours, the following lunch hour when I went now on Monday, nikamkuta sasa ni anachukua video. Unaona wale watu
alikuwa anafanya kila kitu kwa kanisa jamani.
Alikuwa Jacob ako kwa kamera, anachukua kamera, ndio ana project wa screen, he was doing a lot.
Kwa canteen, kwa kamera. They say they're doing that because in their church they also do everything. You know, hey, you'll get good vibes in Jesus' name. You too.
Sasa jamaa akakuta na jamaa kamera. Then I'm connecting na Nina. Huyu ndiye anamulika our senior pastor kwa kamera, amepewa ruhusa hii na nani, nikajua this must be a very, huyu lazima kuwa mtu amefanyiwa vetting mpaka ndio amekaribia pasa hivi. So akichukua kamera, akimaliza alikuwa anapitia ibada, ikiisha mahali alikuwa anaenda kustore kamera. He could look for where I'm seated and alone. Hey, leo umekuja lunch? Anamwambia yes. So we started developing very good friendship from there. Just ile ya church. Then at some point now, he saw me talking with that certain guy. I used to do hospital ministry at Aga Khan Hospital. Every Wednesday for several years, I could go to Aga Khan Hospital and pray for the sick. Naenda huko pavilion kwenda matajiri. I could go to the pavilion, I pray for, and I was now 18, 19. So when I was meeting him, I was still doing that ministry. So he found me talking with my friend, and later he called my friend and asked him, why are you talking to Patricia? You know her. Now that friend who used to go with him mission, he told him, I'm talking to Patricia because we're organizing for our next, hospital visit. And we are just, and he was like, oh, when I do hospital visit, I want to join in the next one for next week. So the next week, I see him at Aga Khan with the team that we used to go to the hospital missions. And now that guy was wise enough, as he was dividing people, you go with this, mentor this today, show him how to pray for the people. We found ourselves, we are together again. We have been paired with him, with Ben now, with Benson. Then we continued like that. We just became good friends. He said that, we had a youth kesha. We had a group of youth intercessors. So we used to meet every Tuesday and every Friday for prayers, a whole night prayer. So he joined the same group. We were in the same group. So we could pray the whole night from 6 to 5 as youth intercessors in church, twice in a week. So we could again find ourselves in that kesha with him. And
so you're now together most of the time in church.
We found now there's like especially in the keshas, and also when I'm free during lunch I could see him. So that's how our friendship started growing. Then some Sundays he could be invited in a church to preach, and he could tell me, just accompany me with other youth and go preach.
Ulianza ministry with your husband
kitambo. Imagine tulikuwa tunaenda sasa tukiwa katika team. And that is how we grew. Now 3 years after, that is when now he engaged me.
And no, before he, gets engaged, I know as ladies, especially if you're serving, you really have that question, Lord, is this the right person? So how did you know that Reverend Ben was the right husband for you? Oh my
goodness, that's a very good question you're asking, because that's where the bugger point is.
Yes, please.
Now, what made me know, I can say it started back when I was 14. I told you I gave my life to Christ when I was 14 years. And there was a time, though I will not give in details, there was a time I got a spiritual visitation when I was 14. I was very young. And in that dream, I saw that God, because I've ever given that testimony, I met God, and I had him telling me, I've given you my servant, you'll work with him. I wanted to help him with the work that I have called him to do, because it's a lot and he cannot do it by himself. And so I've given you this man to help him with the work that I've called him to do. By then I was 14 years, and I did not connect what I was hearing by then with now anything that is about marriage. Because at 14 years, you cannot imagine God speaking to you about a spouse marriage, that will come to marry you at some point. So I was just telling people in that dream that I have dreamt a dream that is interesting, and I've seen God sitting on a throne. And he told me that I'm going to give you my servant, you're going to help him because he has a lot of work to do. So I was thinking,
unaenda kwa assistant pastor
hata ama kuna mahali tutakuwa tunaenda kuhubiria watu na ukiwa na watu wengine. I was not even connecting. So when I was 19 or when I was 21, 22, wakati sasa when he started now showing interest of us being together, because let me tell you something, Racheal, we were just genuine friends, like a brother and sister. In fact, people thought he's my cousin.
Oh, really?
Everywhere you could go, people could say, I have seen my cousin somewhere. People were not even detecting that it may be even a relationship of people that are not siblings. So when I was now 21, one time he told me about how he has been, he's interested to marry me and he loves me. And I was very careful because he was my first boyfriend, or not even boyfriend. He's the first man that I've ever been close to. So when he told me that, I was very scared. Because if there is something I've always been afraid of as a lady, I was only telling God, allow me never to get married to the wrong man. So I went to before God. I went and prayed. I remember I did a fasting. I went and told God, even if you'll never tell me anything else in this app, please open your mouth for once. You tell me just only this. And then even if you'll never tell me anything else in my life, I'll be so convinced. Nikamwambia tu Mungu, najua hujaniongelesha vitu nyingi. I know you are not very talkative to me, but talk to me about this one.
You were determined there.
I'm telling you, I was so desperate to just get to hear what God has to say. So one time, maybe nimelala usiku. A 21 years old girl, And I'm like, God, tonight, please speak to me. Because this man really wants me to give him a response. I feel there is something special about him. I could tell this is not just another man. He's just, you know, alikuwa anapitia some health challenges. You know, he was just, you know, a good guy that is in church that is good. But you could tell he has a very great potential. And I'm like, God, please let me know. Why have you made this man to, you know, tukae tu tunapendana, tuna click. I don't know that is love. I didn't know even whether I'm in love or not. I was so naive. Sasa mimi nikaambia Mungu kama hii inakuanga upendo, let me know. And also let me know whether this man is a man that was supposed to marry. Because I'm not getting married in 2 months. I was feeling I'm still very young because I'm 21, 22. And I was not really, because I'm telling you, I wanted to pursue my nursing career. And I didn't want to lose my direction for my career as well. So I told God, let me know. But I'm afraid to get married soon. So I was in that dilemma. You get it. You know, this is a good man that has come, but you feel again he has come early. You are not expecting. We had not prayed much that he comes, but already he's here and you don't again want to. So I told God, now let me tell you something, say something. When I want to sleep, I got a dream. The dream that I'm telling you, I dreamt 14, when I was 14, it recurred again. I know God, people may not hear God many times, but I'm telling you, when you're desperate to hear him, there is a way he will speak in a language you understand. In that dream, it repeated itself. And then I heard in the dream, the man of God I gave you, and I told you he has a lot of work he will do. Here he is. And that is the man that I've given you. Umsaidie kwa kazi nyingi ambayo nimemwita. Do you know, God is talking about a man that is just behind the camera, akichukua mhubiri picha. You cannot imagine that he's talking about kazi nyingi ya Mungu.
Unashangaa kamera ni kazi nyingi aje. Like Lord, surely we need to talk about this.
We need to talk about this. But it's not that he was just doing the camera work. Wakati anaenda kwa lunch hour, alikuwa anaenda Grogon, anahubiria mechanics, anakaa huko. He had a very great burden for evangelism. Alikuwa tayari anafanya kazi yake ya Mungu kwa makanika, kwa you know, anaingia kwa shop akifanya one on one. So alikuwa pia yeye anahubiri. But you couldn't have told that God is talking about a man that has a lot of work.
A bishop today.
At 21, God. So you know, sasa mimi nikaenda kaambia Mungu, are you for real? So kutoka hapo ndio nikakubali proposal yake. And he engaged me.
Amazing.
Now the funny thing now, after engaged na tumeanza a relationship that will be planning a wedding soon. A door opened for him to go to abroad. He goes to US. He went to US. Ameniacha kwa mataa. Let me tell you something.
We are not here to joke.
Yes, you talked very, uliongea haraka sana. I think you are not done your calculations well. Either God, I didn't hear you, and I'm so sorry if in case I did not hear you.
But you did do your calculations.
I know, because now things are not working as we are thinking. Sasa mlango umefunguka. And now, my fiance by then, he had said the first time to go to the embassy, akanyimwa visa, the second time. The third time, amepoza ile dream, amesema yes. Na yeye amejaribia tatu.
He who gets a wife, gets favor even at the embassy.
I know. Sasa mimi nikaenda nikaambia Mungu, let me tell you something. Huyu mtu kwa sababu sasa ni wewe unataka kuninyang'anya tu hivyo. I'm going to release him. So what we did, tukaenda nikakaa na yeye mahali. Nikamwambia, let me tell you something. Because you're going to US, mimi nataka nikufungue. Ukipata msichana mzuri huko, just go ahead and marry her. Usisikie ni kama utani offend. You know, just do your life. I'll just know that I had a good friend who loved me at some point. Naye akaniambia, naye sasa anashangaa na shida, sasa tutafanya aje? He's going to abroad for several years. He's not coming in 2 months time or 3. Na sasa hapa so naye tukakaa tukashindwa, what are we going to do from there? I escorted him to the airport and he went. Wakati I was going back, nikasikia kulia, nikajua sasa hiyo imeisha hivi. Lakini ataenda huko akutane na watu wako na macho ya blue. And then he forgot Patricia at some point. So mimi nikakaa nikajua siku moja tutaanza kuitiwa harusi at some point. But I had told God, I don't know what had happened. I think I loved him a lot. I told God, if that man you had said about will become my husband, just cause our way to cross again and speak to him just as you spoke to me. And mimi nikakaa. Sasa mimi nikaendelea shughuli zangu, nikaanza kufanya courses zangu, nikaingia nursing, nikaingia college, nikasoma several courses. Sasa mimi nimekaa. Siku moja So he used to call me.
Yeah.
Kitambo wakati tulikuwa tunaenda Saber, unakuta watu wa Saber ndio wanakuconnect na simu ya maji. So
that was a lot of work.
Ilikuwa a lot of work. So hata hiyo Saber nakwambia wakati nifanya harusi ningeenda nikanunulia wao jamaa wote wa Saber. Walinisaidia, walikuwa wananiconnect na hiyo call. So we really called and that's when now I think because he's a prayerful man. When he went to abroad, he called me, he told me, I want to come back to Kenya to marry you. And I was like, my goodness, are you for real? Nikifikia ni mchezo, he engaged me when we were still in abroad. He sent my engagement through one of his lecturers who was coming to Kenya. Maybe I can engage, I'm telling you in front of people.
He engaged you ukiwa abroad?
Behalf, yes.
If a man wants to, class. If a man wants to, he will.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Sasa nikifikiria pengine hata ni engage alafu aone mimi sirudi.
Yeah.
And he finished what he was doing in US. He came back. We started planning for our wedding even when he was still in abroad. You know, he started sending his parents to come and visit my family. Pole pole tukaanza mipango tukaset date ya harusi. And that is how when he came a month after we did our wedding.
Oh, nice.
You can imagine.
Nice.
And from there, oh my goodness, I thank God that from there things became better and we cannot regret what God has been doing. You know.
In 2 words, how would you describe marriage? Because people have crazy definitions of what marriage is in this generation. How would you describe marriage?
That's a hard one. That should be a topic for another day. But I think in my definition, I'll call marriage is living with your best friend the best way that will make you happy. Okay. Marriage is how yourself and your friends, you'll partner to make it to become.
Okay. So it has to be your friend.
It has to be your friend. Yeah. I believe someone's spouse should be more than a husband or like my husband. I normally say he's like a friend. Na kama and I thank God that my relationship with him started in a very healthy friendship level. And I normally say that I think the best marriage, one of the best secrets for marriage is making your spouse to become your best friend. Okay. And then you partner together to make yourself just enjoy life the best way you know how. Yeah. And try as much as possible to become a blessing to your other friend. Okay. Yes.
You've mentioned you lost your mom as a teenager.
Yes.
You want to talk about it?
Oh my goodness. Oh, yes. I lost my mom when I was in high school. I first lost my dad. My dad died when the first day I joined Form 1. That same evening, the day I joined Form 1, that's the day that my dad died. Yes. You know, the way you admitted in Form 1 today and you sleep in high school the first day, that's the same night that he died. And he had come from looking for a better school for me because he didn't want that I joined that school that I was. He wanted me to go to a national school because I had passed my Form 4. Yeah. So my dad died and he was not sick. He just died in his sleep. He just slept and never woke up. So it was a very bad thing to hear that my dad has died. Yeah. And he was appearing normal. Now, 3 years after, my mom dies when I'm still again in high school.
Yeah. Did you maybe like think about know that you had lost your dad at Form 1? Had you like grieved? Ulikuwa umeheal? No. What was the process like?
Oh dear, thank you. What happened, because my dad died when I was in Form 1, I never took a break because I've just joined Term 1. Yeah. So it was a long term. So I didn't get enough time to grieve him. And my dad used to love me. You know, girls and their father? Yeah. He loved me. And I used to love my dad. And he had said so many things because I'm the second I'm second last in my family. Okay. So he had vowed and said, I want to educate my daughter the best way because at least she's among the last people. So I want to educate her, and because she's so brilliant, I want to take her to the best university when she finished. So he had promised so many things. Yeah. So when I heard of his death, I was like, all those dreams that I had for going to university and going to a good high school, zimeenda tu hivyo. Yeah. So I never got enough time to grieve. And that is how, after he died, I gave my life to Christ like a month after. Because I felt I'm so exposed. I told God, there's somewhere you said that you're the father to the fatherless. I want you to become my father because I've lost my father. Adopt me as one of your daughters. So I started a journey with God. That is when I got that encounter of God showing me the person that will marry me. I was still very young in salvation. Okay. And it was that experience changed I think there was a way it helped even in my healing process. My grief was like neutralized by that encounter as well. Okay. It diminished a little bit. But now when I was again, after three years after, when I'm in Form 4, I hear that my mom has died. My mom died when I'm doing my exams, my mock exams. And my mom again used to love me. I used to pray for my mother. If there is somebody in this earth that has ever prayed for her parents as a young girl, I could pray for her. I could tell God, oh God, heal her heart. Because I knew how she loved my dad. Yeah. So her death, my dad's death made me really have a great burden to pray for widows. And one of the widows was my mom. So I was telling God, oh my goodness, don't allow her heart to be so heartbroken. So then after some days, you know, I hear about again losing my mom. She was young because she was below 50 and we are so young. Our firstborn was below 25. We are 8 of us. So tulikuwa tumefuatana hivi. So hakuna yule alikuwa hata ameenda mahali. So we felt bad when we lost her. Amekufa. So nimekuja midterm, nimeambiwa mama amekufa during around that time ya midterm. Nimeingia, I've come home on Wednesday, nimekaa Thursday. Tumeenda nyumbani Friday, mazishi ni Saturday, and then I go back to school on Monday. You know, so I had only one day to grieve for her. Yeah. Kwa sababu nilitoka shule nikaambiwa kwa mochari. So after 2 days tumemzika, and then after a day nimerudi shule. Na ninafanya exams hizo za form 4, hizo za kumaliza KCSE, lazima nipite KCSE. Yeah. So I had a lot. I got into depression. I could cry the whole time. I never got interested to finish hata sikuwa na bidii ya kusoma tena from there. Na vile nilikuwa na psych, nilikuwa napita. Lakini nikasema hata kama nitapata E ama F ama Z, I don't care. Nitaipeleka wapi bila mzazi. But at some point, when I was in form 4, nikiambia Mungu, how will life continue without a mother? And you know how much I have loved my mother, and I've prayed that God you help her. Mungu akanitokea usiku mmoja, and God spoke to me and told me, trust me for impossibilities. That another word that I will never forget, that God talks. That was the first time to hear audible voice of God.
Trust me for impossibilities.
Trust me for impossibilities. When I was in form 4, I had that voice when I was waking up, and I was like, I told my colleague, have you heard somebody talking about trust me for impossibilities? And she told me, Patricia, no, I've not heard. Nikiwa kwa class, nikifanya ile morning prep, nikasikia hiyo sauti, trust me for impossibilities. Nikaanza kuandika kwa kitabu hapa juu, trust me for impossibilities. From that time, that's how I started healing. Hiyo sauti ni kama ilikuja ikaniponya. I was able now to start now. I could cry a lot. If there is somebody who has ever cried here in this earth because of losing a parent, it was me. I cried until I said, if it's okay to, even if my tears will come out and drain out of my body, let it drain. I cried. And that is how, from that voice hearing it, my life got healed and I was able to continue with life. And I can't complain that that weight got lifted out of my life.
Okay.
Yes.
For someone who's grieving right now, or someone who just lost their parent, or someone they really love, what would you tell them? Oh
my God. Sorry to them, first of all. Because I know the pain of death. I know how it hurts. Yeah. It hurts depending with the intensity of the relationship we had with that person. But I feel I think I can tell anyone that has ever lost someone that is close to them, God is not bad. The reason he allowed you to go through the pain of losing that person and you are still standing, it was for a divine reason. Yeah. There are people who God may not allow them to go through grief because there's nothing much maybe they want to bear. But I normally feel anybody, especially to them that are in Christ Jesus, and they love God a lot, but they have lost people prematurely through a demonic attack. I normally feel it's like a sacrifice we give to God. If you overcome the grief and don't complain to God and still partner with God, you find that those people are the ones that birth great things in their families. Hao ndio watu ambao Mungu huwa anatumia sana kwa jamii, wale ambao watasimama even through all this pain. Unakuta kwamba Mungu amewatumia sana. Na kwa hivyo that is what I can try to encourage anyone that has ever lost anyone that is close to them. Let them know that there is still something that is being birthed out of that pain that you have had by losing that person. Oh wow. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Rev, for having this conversation with us. There's so much more we'd love to talk about.
I know.
But not a tiny bit.
Yeah. It's somebody we have talked about so many things.
Yes, for sure. Thank you so much for being with us on this episode. Yeah. And we absolutely love and admire and get edified by what you do. Yeah. So thank you so much.
Asante. Thank you for having me.
Yes, tumesema hiyo story ya hangout after this. Yes, we should plan. Sindio? Yeah. Thank you so much for staying. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know that you've been blessed by today's episode. You've heard Reverend Patricia She's wearing so many hats. Sasa hata siwezi sema zote sahi. But in summary of all is that you are an amazing woman of God and a very good friend.
You.
Yes.
Racheal.
So thank you so much for tuning in. This is just a reminder that please subscribe and share the link to as many people as you can so that they can get blessed as well. If you're a young lady there or a young man, this story is here to also tell you that you can get married and get married right. Okay? Yeah, very important. So you have our amazing mugs and cups right here. So if you'd want to order one, please do. Our numbers are here and we'll make sure that it gets to you. And many more mugs you can always order through our WhatsApp number 011 29 00 940. Okay, today we've been shooting from Cyprus Park, Nakuru. This is where you come and hang out with your friends. If it's a corporate meeting that you want to have, this is also the place to have it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tunapenda sana. We'll see you on the next episode. Bye bye.